I'm definitely feeling that. The gravel is small and round, red and black, and we're walking along a steep incline. Yeah, this is pretty scary. Don't slide down. Borson stoops down and scoops up some stones. They tell the story of the volcano.
This is actually a piece of the maroon sandstone.
It's reddish, clay colored. It's from when massive mountains eroded millions of years ago, way before the eruption.
So this is part of the fragmented material that got ripped apart during the explosive eruption. And so this is a key piece of evidence.
And it was a big explosion. That's partly because it hit a bunch of water as it exploded, but scientists aren't clear where the water came from. Maybe an ancient river or deep underground.
Because the water interacts with this hot material, the water flashes to steam, and there's a lot of energy in that. And so the material just gets absolutely ripped apart.
It damaged all the rocks surrounding the volcano. That included a bunch of quartz crystals. Those crystals got embedded in the magma, which turned to lava and then stone. And you can still find little chunks of them in the black rocks today. Strasser picks up a piece.
So this is an example of one of the crystals that's still embedded in the lava.
It looks like a diamond, a little clear chunk inside the black stone.
And a fascinating piece of history here is that these were mistaken for diamonds.
She says there was a mini diamond rush, but people soon found out they were just quartz. Still, they're locally known as .0 diamonds. So now the big question, could this volcano blow up again?
I don't think there's any suggestion that this will erupt again.
Unlikely, says Borson, although it is technically still active since it blew up within the past 10,000 years. That's the kind of thing that motivates Borson to study volcanoes.
As the population of the world gets larger, more and more people are moving in and living on the flanks of volcanoes, and that increases risk.
She says understanding them better reduces the risk of deaths and damage.
We can't eliminate it, but to reduce it and understand how big when the next eruption will be so we can protect people.
She says .0's eruption is just a little blip in Earth's history, but it does give her perspective.
You know, being an inhabitant on Earth, it's just exciting to understand how Earth has evolved over the last 4.5 billion years.
On the rim of Colorado's only active volcano, I'm Tegan Winsley, CPR News.
What do you wonder about when it comes to Colorado? Ask us at cpr.org/Colorado Wonders. We will answer it on air and online. Thanks for joining us today and to the Colorado Matters team.
Tyler Bender, Carl Buick, Anthony Cock, Pete Kramer,
Andrea DeCaucus,
Zan Upchody, Matt Hurst, Tom House, Michael Peace, Pedro Medaglia,
Shane Watson,
Haley Sanchez,
Ryan Warren, and I'm Shonda Thomas with you. This is CPR News and KRCZ.
This is CPR News, 90.1 FM, KCFR Denver, 1490 AM, KCFC Boulder, on HD at 90.1 FM and CPR.org.
Support comes from Denver Film. Film on the Rocks presents Little Miss Sunshine on July 13th in partnership with Sundance Film Fest, featuring live music by headliner Dvoshka and Wheelchair Sports Camp. Information at denverfilm.org. The music and news you hear on Colorado Public Radio is thanks in part to support from Intermountain Health, a member of Colorado Corporate Partners. This program highlights Colorado organizations that make a difference in our state. Intermountain Health is a nonprofit health system offering virtual health, emergency care, patient-focused birth experiences, and hospital-based procedures. Learn more about Intermountain Health at intermountainhealth.org.
John Ronestrom, out here on the National Mall, about halfway between the World War II and Lincoln Memorial, which is to say, I am standing next to our reflecting pool. And I'd like to take a moment to sit right there, talk about how it isn't just nominally a reflecting pool. I've lived here for about a decade, and just about any time here, It's open. It's free. It's free for you in the winter to try and test your luck skating the reflecting pool in your sneakers. Or, you know, as of late, it's felt a lot less free out here at the reflecting pool, and we're going to get into it on today's Explained from Vox.
Live from NPR News, I'm Giles Snyder. The death toll is rising from Wednesday evening's back-to-back earthquakes in Venezuela. The health minister now says some 235 people were killed and another 4,300 were injured. Scientists say the quakes were an unusual geological event, as NPR's Katie Riddle reports.
Back-to-back earthquakes are not unheard of, but they're not typical, according to those who study them. This unusual timing is in part what made this event so uniquely catastrophic, according to William Barnhart, who's a geophysicist at the U.S. Geological Survey.
The combination of those, having them on land and then having them close to major population centers, as we're starting to see, is proving to be absolutely devastating.
Barnhart says the USGS is analyzing satellite imagery in order to understand exactly what faults were involved in these earthquakes. Katie Riddle, NPR News.
Rescue teams are searching for survivors in the rubble of collapsed buildings. Hundreds believed to be trapped and many remain unaccounted for. The Supreme Court has struck down Hawaii's limit when gun owners can bring their guns on private property. The decision impacts 4 other states, as NPR's Jacqueline Diaz.
In those states, gun owners can bring firearms onto private property, unless the property owner tells them otherwise. But 5 states have laws requiring gun owners to get permission from homeowners before bringing their guns. Those states were Hawaii, California, Maryland, New York, and New Jersey. But this latest decision from the High Court says those states cannot force gun owners to get that permission. In a 6-3 decision, the judges said requiring permission in advance places an undue burden on a person's right to possess and carry a gun. Jacqueline Diaz, NPR News.
The court also handed the White House victories in a pair of immigration cases. The court today allowed the Trump administration to end legal protections for Haitian and Syrian immigrants. It also cleared the way the administration to potentially revive an immigration policy used to turn back migrants seeking asylum at the southern border. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says there has been progress in talks between Israel and Lebanon, as NPR's Michelle Kellerman reports.
A joint statement between the U.S. and the Gulf Cooperation Council backs the negotiations between Israel and Lebanon and calls for the disarmament of non-state actors. That means Hezbollah, the Iranian-backed Lebanese militants. Rubio says the U.S. has revived the monitoring system.
And what it does is CENTCOM is now sitting not just with the Israeli military command, but the Lebanese command. And
Time an incident happens,
we're not taking anybody else's word for it. We can see the incident, and we can qualify what actually happened.
Renewed fighting between Hezbollah and Israel could derail U.S. talks with Iran, though Rubio says the negotiations are moving on separate tracks. Michelle Kellerman, NPR News, Washington.
They got you into the war.
A former executive at social media giant Meta is suing the parent company of Facebook, claiming Meta is attempting to silence her. The lawsuit was filed Thursday in federal courts in Northern California by Sarah Wynne Williams, the author of the best-selling memoir Careless People, which provides an insider account of her time at Meta. The lawsuit claims the company's private arbitration order that prevents her from speaking out about the company or promoting her book is invalid. She also claims a severance agreement she signed when she left Meta under duress. 4 out of 5 Australian teens under age 16 say they're still using social media 3 months after a nationwide law banning them from it took effect. That's according to new research in the journal BMJ.
Last December, Australia became the first country in the world to ban children under 16 from having accounts with many social media platforms, including TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Snapchat. But a new observational study of 408 Australian teens found that in the early months since it passed, the law has had very little impact, and most teens continue to access social media with their own accounts. Only a small minority of teens are required to provide official proof of age to use social media. Some teens said they actively bypassed age restrictions by using fake accounts, other people's accounts, or other measures. The findings from a similar ban
It's
are
breaking
in the works
rules.
in other countries.
Yeah.
Maria Godoy, NPR News.
This is NPR News. Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include the Joyce Foundation, committed to advancing racial equity and economic mobility for the next generation in the Great Lakes region. Learn at joycefbn.org. This is NPR.
I'm Christina Cotterucci. I'm a senior writer at Slate.
What is it about the reflect pool that has captured not only, I think, national, but international attention?
That stretch of federal land between the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial is maybe iconic we have. It's between two monuments representing two of our great beloved presidents. You know, it's the site of MLK's I Have a Dream speech. It's the thing that you have to go to whenever you visit DC, whether that's on an 8th grade field trip or, you know, I met some people down there who were there for work conferences. It's sort of the place where tourists gather more than any other.
It's like where Forrest Gump and Jack
Don't worry, man. Everything's going to be okay. Yes, more to the point. Of all of Trump's, you know, D.C. renovations, besides maybe the part of the White House that he tore down, it's the most recognizable thing to people who don't live in D.C.
Well, let's talk about how this all got started. Was there a problem that needed to be addressed to begin with?
Yes and no. So when I first heard that Trump was painting the reflecting pool blue, you know, it was like a bright blue, like I want to say the color of Sonic the Hedgehog.
He said American flag blue. And so you can't do better than that.
Although, you know, having been down there, I would say it's a little more turquoise, but that's beside the point. The fact is, the reflecting pool has been plagued by leaks and algae for decades, you know, maybe even since its construction. And so Trump is not the first president to try to fix that. And Barack Obama, you know, spent $30 million installing a new water filtration and treatment facility,
a new steel reinforced foundation, a new filtration system that pumps water from the Potomac tidal basin. And pretty much on time, pretty much on budget, the new pool opened.
A month later, the famous pool of water is full of algae.
The algae blooms are endemic to this large pool of stagnant water sitting in the DC sun.
The smell was terrible.
It smells like wet dog down here, you know.
Waste from the geese, plus all the feathers and everything else that came off of them, plus the algae.
There's also the fact that it's created with slabs of concrete that, you know, expand and contract with shifting temperatures, maybe freeze in the wintertime, you know, under the water. It leaks millions of gallons of water a year. And so, yes, there are things about the reflecting look that Trump failed to repair. But was the color of it of them? No.
It's not that green. Okay, so Trump is like 50-50 on solid footing here to go in and fix the reflecting pool. I guess a project like this starts with who's going to do the work, and there is some controversy there, right?
Oh, absolutely. So normally the federal government effectively and, you know, best. Instead, Trump handpicked two different vendors to award contracts to.
They said, well, pool guy. I said, take a look at it. And he said, well, sir, we can do it.
One was for over $14 million, the other one for more than $1 million. These were no bid contracts, which means that there were no other contractors submitting plans for how they would do the job.
Every time I do a development, they do swimming pools. I know more about swimming pools. I said, why can't we put the wonderful material, which is thick, pasty, beautiful like rubber, but industrial strength? Why can't we use it? And let's pick the color blue from the American flag, which is what we did.
One of the contractors was based in Virginia. Trump said someone who had done work on his Virginia golf course, and done some pools there, and this was for the waterproofing, blue sealant on the bottom of the pool.
President Trump originally promised that his hand-picked, no-bid contractor would just charge $1.8 million for this repair and paint job. The federal records show the Interior Department is now planning to pay that contractor, Atlantic Industrial Coatings, more than 7 times that.
The other one was a company in Ohio called, get this, Greenwater Services.
Greenwater Services received a $1 million+ no-bid contract to help install the water filtration systems inside the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool.
The owner of which was a major Trump donor, and Trump had actually called out from the stage of a big event for being such a big supporter.
J.J. Cafaro from Florida and from Cleveland. He's a man who made a lot of money in Cleveland, does a good job, and a fantastic man. $50,000. J.J., thank you.
Who owns a property next to Mar-a-Lago.
And who are we kidding? Looks like a cartoon villain.
Cartoon villain.
Oh my God, absolutely. He's like, he has a perfect little mustache, a double-breasted herringbone jacket in every photo that news reports are using, which I'm honestly kind of jealous of.
Why does this guy look like if Hitler decided he was going to be a used car salesman? Why does he look like the Penguin from Batman? I mean, this guy looks like the CEO in an 80s movie who's coming into a town in order to knock down a children's playground.
It's like Donnie Brasco got stung by a bee.
Midas touch guy nailed it.
Which
John
is to
Stewart
say,
Baum,
this was not
Donnie Brasco.
done on the up and up in the way that the federal government typically engages in these projects.
Where do the problems begin once they break ground?
So it started when they finished, the sealant on the bottom and painting it blue, and they refilled it with water. And almost immediately, like within a week, it was home to the largest algae bloom in at least 5 years, according to a Washington Post analysis.
We were trying to look at the new American flag pool, and we can't see that. Oh,
can't see the blue.
So what do you think about the reflecting pool behind you? How does that look? Not good?
Can't see the blue.
No, it's not good. I mean, it looks great. It was hilarious
Fools
to
can't
see
see the
Trump
blue.
calling this thing American flag blue because it was actually
ain't blue.
bright green.
Everybody's looking at that reflecting board. They can't believe it. Reflects. We used a dark blue. It's called American flag.
People who opposed President Trump really jumped on that failure because it was something you could really see with your own 2 eyes. It actually reminded me of the
You can
debate
see all
his
Trump's failures
inauguration
with your own
crowds
2 eyes,
where,
except where are the people that had an alligator Auschwitz?
have ever been on the National Mall.
This was the largest audience ever witnessed an inauguration.
Where are the people that had an alligator
And then
Auschwitz?
there were
No one
actually
can see
pictures
them with
from
their own
above
2
where,
eyes.
like, the National Mall was not even half full.
So-
Sean Spicer, our press secretary, gave alternative
What the hell?
Then that precious blue
Wrong
piece
lane,
that
buddy.
Trump had
Wrong
spent,
lane.
nearly $15 million of taxpayer money.
It's wet out, but
started peeling up from the edges.
This is just a flat of what appears to be that sealant down here in the water, just flapping like that. There have been tourists coming along, tearing off pieces to take as souvenirs.
Check this out, that American flag blue color that the president picked out is now peeling off with chunks of paint floating in the water.
And then people show up to gawk at that, and then all of a sudden we're having people being arrested on the national mall?
What the hell?
Yeah, this is where it really turns.
Shit is people being arrested?
It would be farcical if people weren't actually being criminalized for this, but
people should be criminalized.
people were reaching into this putrid water, picking pieces of the pool's lining out of the water, then were arrested by park police for vandalizing federal property.
Obviously, the president is now saying vandals were cutting up the lining of the reflecting pool.
Probably a box cutter or a knife of some kind.
Is there any evidence of that?
No.
No, I mean,
No, there's no
this
evidence
has really
of it.
taken the shape of just about every
Everything else Trump
controversy
says,
around
total lie.
President Trump's failures, where his supporters immediately jumped to conspiracy theories.
Somebody said they might have put fertilizer. They just
So people were saying that some bureaucrats had put fertilizer in the pool to make the algae bloom.
Obama had the right idea.
President Trump was saying that someone had come in with a box cutter and put a 350-foot gash down the reflecting pool.
That shit didn't happen.
I saw this thing peeling up like skin peeling off of a sunburn. It's an absolute disappointment.
Do we know what actually caused the peeling, if not a guy with
Yeah, shitty work
done by
It
Trump
could
engineer.
be the hydrogen peroxide that workers poured into the pool.
Could be the shitty work they did in the first place. Because they're shitty people.
You know, that the surface was
Everything they
improperly
do is
prepared
shitty.
before the sealant was sprayed onto it. It could have also been that water,
Oh my gosh, what a loser.
which might have put too much weight on it and damaged the newly repaired seals between the seams. It wasn't coming off in balls, like it was peeling off in sheets because it's
it
almost
sucks.
like a
Work they did sucks. They should have known that they're going to close the Strait of News. They should have a bunch of stuff. They not know. They're destroying America for Putin. You speculate they're destroying America for
the
Putin.
Trump administration and of President Trump's demeanor is that they're
No, I
not
was just
motivated
working.
by taking slow and deliberative steps toward doing a good job. They're motivated by
That's one way to put it.
easy
They're con
wins,
men.
by big flashy,
Just say they're con men. Big flashy.
aesthetic moments. And by extreme, almost delusional confidence
Almost
that
delusional.
you know,
No, it's
President
delusional.
Trump alone can fix
President
things.
Trump sucks at everything.
And by extreme deference to him. So if
You guys
Trump
are doing
said,
deference to him by
I
even
want this
talking
guy
that way.
to paint my resting pool and I want it done in 2 weeks, anyone actually responsible for getting it done is like, sir, yes, sir. You know, they're not going to be like, well, you know, actually we should take a few months to seek out competing bids and have
It
the
should be
nation's
that way.
best
They want it to
engineers
be,
do
like, legal
research
and
on
shit.
how we can repair this in an enduring way. I think
Oh,
he
well,
probably
that was
also
fun,
didn't
huh?
care if it failed again in a couple weeks, as long as it lasted through his big rally and through July 4th. You know, he's not one who cares about what comes after him. This is his property. He doesn't think of it as a public space that he needs to steward with an enduring competence.
Yeah, I don't know if I can show that very well,
You
but
can read Christina at slate.com.
well, it's fun to listen to.
When we're back on
Fun
Today
trash about
Explained, our
Trump.
buddy Benji is going to tell us how reflecting pool algae became Trump's biggest problem with a body of water since the Strait of Hormuz.
It's not. Like, he's got still the Strait of Hormuz is his biggest problem. And the Gulf of Mexico. Like, everything's his biggest
Your
problem.
generosity helps
Everything he
CPR
does is a
hit its
problem.
fiscal
But
year-end
we'll stop
goal.
him. Thanks.
Trusted news, meaningful music, authentic stories online.